Hey everyone, Prince B here. Today we're going to be looking at Yugioh Zexal, or Zeal if you prefer the Japanese pronunciation. Before we get started, I want to point out that because the manga has not been finished, this will be an anime review only. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's get started. Before anything else, we should start with some brief background info. Zexal is the fourth series in the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise, after the original Yu-Gi-Oh, GX, and 5D's eras. Yu-Gi-Oh is about characters playing card games from the franchise of the same name, though in-universe the game is referred to as Duel Monsters. Further, the shows emphasize the concept of bonds. I mean, it's right there in the second movie's title. Also, everyone has really wild hair. Now that that's out of the way, let's get started with the plot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. Zexal's protagonist is middle schooler Yuma Tsukumo. He aspires to become the world dueling champion, despite his horrible dueling skills. Yuma is often said to have the power of believing in other people, and has a never-give-up spirit left to him by his father Kazuma, in the form of his catchphrase, Katobingu, for which there is no real translation, as it is a made-up word. It's usually translated as something akin to never giving up, or in a lot of the subbed versions that I watched, it was translated as bringing it to them. Essentially, Katobingu means to face any challenge, no matter the difficulties. One day, Yuma's friend has his deck taken by school bully Reginald Castile, or Ryoga Kamshiro in the Japanese version, known to most simply as Shark, for the shark-themed deck that he plays. Determined to get back his friend's deck, Yuma challenges his Shark to a duel with his own deck on the line. The next day, when Shark and Yuma duel, Yuma is easily driven into a corner by Shark, until Yuma's memento of his father, the Emperor's Key, draws Yuma into a pocket dimension of sorts, one he has seen in his dreams. There, a gigantic door tells him that the one who opens the door will obtain great power in exchange for that which they value most. Yuma accepts this Faustian bargain and opens the door. Afterwards, he finds himself back at the duel, and before him is an energy being visible only to him, Astral. Astral has no memory, but is an excellent duelist, and to recover his missing memories, which have taken the form of the evil number cards, Astral must team up with Yuma in order to obtain the 99 missing cards. Yuma and Astral don't get along at first. Yuma hates Astral telling him what to do, but finds that he wins while Astral is at his side. In time, Yuma comes to value Astral as his friend and partner, and through his relationship with Astral, becomes a better duelist. As for the other characters, each one is well designed and fleshed out, many with backstories and traits that give them great depth. I felt that no character was there just for the sake of being there, and each played important roles in the story. The quote villains of the series were great, probably my favorite so far, and aren't really villains in the traditional sense. While they have their reasons for standing against Yuma and Astral, most of them have very personal reasons for doing so, and we get to see how they got there as opposed to them being evil for the sake of it. While that's usually the case in Yu-Gi-Oh, here it is much deeper, and everyone was connected, once again emphasizing bonds. Further, the character growth is amazing here, the most notable with Yuma. He starts out as possibly the worst duelist in any of the series, but as he duels alongside Astral, he comes to be able to duel on his own, and stands his ground, even without Astral. This is something we don't really see in the previous series, as the protagonists of each started out pretty good at dueling, rather than having to work their way up from the bottom. Animation-wise, it's very impressive. I assume Yu-Gi-Oh has a large budget, so that's no surprise. However, when I first started watching, I wasn't too keen on the CGI animations that were mixed in. However, after a few episodes, I came to look forward to seeing a new number summoned, and it just worked really well. It was something they did that could have easily backfired, but I felt worked out in the end. Also, the backgrounds and settings of the series are absolutely gorgeous, being vibrant and colorful, and the lighting and shading effects were great, so there's no real complaints on the animation side. As for audio, in the Japanese version it's great. The VA work is top-notch. Sound effects are great and synced up perfectly. The background music is amazing. But like my last review, I didn't enjoy the English dubs. In fact, Yuma's voice in the dub is one of the most irritating things I've ever heard. All the characters except maybe Astral sound off in the dubs, but Yuma is the biggest offender. Also, his crying in the dub is the fakest thing I've ever heard. The only other huge annoyance there was Yuma's over-reliance on his ace card, number 39, Utopia. While the protagonists tend to have an ace in Yu-Gi-Oh!, a go-to card that they use to get out of their trouble situations, they have in the past won many games without them. To just call some examples to mind, Yugi used Gaia the Dragon Champion against Weevil. Jaden had a wide variety of heroes, even though his aces were Flame Wingman and Elemental Hero Neos. He could call out a variety of other heroes to help him out of tough situations. And Yusei had numerous Synchron warriors, in addition to his Stardust Dragon and its variants. Yuma seemed to forget that he has access to all the numbers he and Astral collects, and thus only uses about 10 of them, discounting Utopia and his variations. I would have liked to see him use more of them, but that's just a minor nitpick. Overall, Zexal was my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime so far. I don't think it could get stupider than card games in space, but Zexal left me pleasantly surprised. For these reasons, Zexal earned a 9 out of 10, or if you want to get really specific, a 96 out of 100. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the next series, Arc V, has to offer, and whether or not it can hold up to Zexal's impressive legacy. Aside from those very few minor details, Utopia being overused and really predictable, and the dub's atrocious VA work, I think it was hands down the best Yu-Gi-Oh! In the series. As for Arc V, I'm really excited. I've already picked out my favorite character from the ones that have been shown so far, and yes, before you ask, it was based entirely on his hair. Well, that's all for today. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Katta bingo da! Ore!